Good morning, students. Today, how many of you read the newspaper? Today's newspaper, what is the important news which you saw? Can you say? Yes, the important news, very important news which we saw today's newspaper is that a great martyr was died or was killed by Chinese army. His name was Santosh from Andhra. He was a commander of Indian battalion, artillery battalion. So he lost his life because he was killed by Chinese soldier. So we can say that he was a great martyr. He has lost his life for our country. So we should always think about the sacrifice made by our soldiers for our country. Now also we can see our border is completely checked or completely assembled or blocked by Indian soldiers. The life of the soldiers, is very difficult. We are all living only with their help. Because we can always, we should be very watchful about our neighboring countries, especially we can see daily attacks are done by Pakistan army and other terrorists from one side, and on another side we can see Chinese army also. Yesterday they had killed about 40 soldiers, it is read in the newspaper. So we should just always think about the sacrifice. They lost their family, so their mothers, they are lamenting or they are crying today. I have seen that news. So here today I am going to explain the life history or the tragic end of a great martyr in India. His name is Khalifa. It is a supplementary lesson for second language English medium students. So we can see who was this Khalifa. What was his contribution? How he died? How was his family? Everything we can see. Firstly, I will explain that his life history. After that, I will read. Then again, I will explain. So it is a very short lesson. It is a supplementary lesson. So I am saying that Khalifa, he was a great martyr. But we lost that young soldier at the age of 25. The name of his mother was Hema Aziz. She performed beautiful music and she has already attended the musical performance. And it belonged to a musician's family. Most of them they are musicians. Their family, he belonged to a family of musicians. And he was also called as Khalifa because he has already given some advice to others and he always tried to help others also. His condition, the condition of his family was very pitiable or very poor. You can see that he lost his father at the age of 8. He lost his father at the age of 8. When he was 8 years old, he lost his father. He also performed in some, he joined in the drama school and dramatic school. So he lost his father. Next one is that his mother condition. Mother always performed. He was a member of Wing of Information, performance of Wing of Information Broadcasting Ministry. Wing of Information of Broadcasting Ministry, he has performed in many functions. So he went for tour. Most of the days he was out of station. So at that time, and he lost his father, and moreover, he could not see his mother always because he has performed many entertainment, many programs. Because he wanted to travel related to the performance Wing of Information Broadcasting Ministry. Wing of Information Broadcasting Ministry. So she wanted to travel many days. At that time, Anif was alone with his brothers. younger brother and elder brother were also there. Nobody was there to look after. But at the same time, they just studied by themselves. They were very punctual. They many things they learned by themselves. They used to get up early and they did their routine work, everything without others' compulsion. Now you know, when you are waking up late, immediately you will be called by your parents. If you are not waking up early, your parents will call. They will call and they will tell you, study, because time is 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, etc. They will call you. But in this case, nobody was there to look after these 3 children. So they learned by themselves. They understood that nobody was there. So they learned by themselves without others' compulsion or others' advice. So they were very punctual. His childhood was very miserable. So another thing is that he was an introvert. That means he did not speak with others. He did not speak with others, but only after a few years, after when he became 14 years and 16 years, in between 14 and 16 years, he began to mingle with others. Till that period, he was an introvert. He tried to help others. That's another thing. So his brother worked as a teacher in Delhi. The brother of this Anybody worked as a teacher in Delhi. He worked as a teacher in Delhi. So what happened is that he just joined. Anif graduated. He has taken his degree. After that, he applied to get a job in military service because it was his long cherished desire, or he liked to join in the military service always. Anif always liked to join in military service. That was his ambition. He did not like to go for the musical groups or some other things. Sometimes he might have thought that his life was very short. Sometimes it may be the reason. Anyway, whatever may be. After completing his training, he has applied to get a job. He has applied to get a training. After that, he was selected. Then after 6 months, his training was over. Then he became a new man, new person. Everything was changed. He joined in the 11 Rajputana Rifles group. He joined 11 Rajputana. It is the name of that troop, military troop. 11 Rajputana group. He joined. So what happened? We can see. It was a time of Kargil war. You know, Pakistan soldiers intruded. They came to India or intruded India, and fight was happened between our soldiers and Pakistan soldiers. So at the time of a Kargil war, this young soldier, very brave, very smart, and very helpful nature, he was killed by Pakistan army. So he lost his life, or he lost that martyr at the age of 25. That's the end of the story. I mean, end of this life, not the story. His life history. We can see he lost his life at the age of 25, very early age. So he became a martyr in India. We should always give respect to him. But his mother is told that after his training, during the training period also, he suffered a lot. He used to say to his mother that there was some night bath, Masuri bath. He told the word Masuri bath. So mother told that it might be the cold water bath which he took during the night time at Masuri. Masuri is it is a colder place in India. One of the coldest places in India, Masuri. So his life was very miserable. In commemoration or in memory, his mother we got the permission of a petrol bunk. The government has already given the license of opening a petrol bunk in memory of that son, Hanifudi. Now, in that, if we are entering in that house, if we enter in his house, we can see a photo. We can see only that smiling photo of Hanif, because he lost. So that is the life history of this Hanif. I am reading, and again after that we can explain again. we often come to know from the newspaper accounts how our young soldiers aspire to live and die for our country. They are ready to sacrifice everything. There is a profile of a young soldier who gave up his life at the age of 25. People live and die, but continue to live forever in the hearts of patriots. We can see that in the beginning I told that on every day's newspaper we can see some news. There are many soldiers who were killed by some others. So their memory, we will always keep their memory in our heart or in our mind. This lesson contains the life history of a great martyr, and his name was called Hanifuddin. Enter the Hanifuddin's household and warm smile will beckon you to step sight in. But that's all this smile can do as it beams from within the confines of a picture frame. Enter the Hanifuddin household and a warm smile will beckon you to, beckon is a call. If you are entering, if you are going to his house, we can see a smiling face and his photo was there. We can see only his photo. That person left our world, this world, he left the world. Enter the Hanifuddin household and warm smile will beckon you to step right in. But that's all the smile can do as it beams from within the confines of a picture frame. That means we can see only his photograph now. That person, we can see a smiling face, we can see that photograph only. A mere memory, painful and brave. The smiles belong to the 25-year-old martyr Lieutenant Hanifuddin. His name was Lieutenant, the high post, Lieutenant Hanifuddin. You can see his photo in his house if you are going there now also. Now only a memory, we can keep his memory in our heart only. A mere memory, painful and brave. The smile belongs to the 25-year-old martyr Lieutenant Hanifuddin. As you take a deep breath and try to avoid the pain that comes from knowing of a young life cut short, you will notice a large picture of snow-capped mountain peaks of the Tartak sector in Kargil. Tartak sector. He was doing or he was serving there. Tartak. At that time he was killed by Pakistan soldiers. He was killed by Pakistan soldiers or Pakistan army killed this soldier. After that, that place, the name of that place was already changed. Now sub-sector Anif. The previous name was Tartak sector. Then after his death, that name was completely changed and now the new name is sub-sector Anif. Sub-sector Anif, that is the new name given by the government in memory of that soldier. Tartak sector in Kargil, it is in Kargil. Kargil war, you heard Kargil war with India and Pakistan. Now called sub-sector Anif in memory of Hanifuddin bravery. So why the name of that place was changed? It was changed in memory of this Hanifuddin, Lieutenant Hanifuddin memory. He died during that war, so the name of that sector was already changed. Now the present name is sub-sector Anif. Perhaps Hanifuddin or Khalifa as his friends always called him Khalifa. His friends always called him Khalifa. Knew what he would be able to give to the nation, which probably explains why Hanifuddin, who hailed from a family of musicians, chose to join. Why Hanifuddin, who hailed from a family of musicians, chose to join the army. I told you that most of the family members, they were artists, some were musicians also, but Hanif did not join in that group because sometimes he might have thought that his life would not survive long. Perhaps Hanifuddin also knew that life for him was short and so he needed to repeatedly remind himself of his mission. One can only surmise, one can guess from a flashcard found among his belongings which simply said, "We change lives." Fate had ensured that Hanifuddin would battle with hardship from a tender age. We can see his sufferings during his suffering started during his childhood itself. During his childhood itself, he has already faced many hardships or many difficulties. When he was just 8 years old, Hanif lost his father, who had been an artist associated with National School of Drama. His father was an artist and he joined the National Institute of Drama. Father was an artist and Mother was a musician or vocal, you can say that, vocal musician, you can say, vocal singer. Left to take care of 3 young boys. So after the death of their father, they were left, the 3 boys, the 3 children were left. Hanif and younger brother and elder brother were there alone. Hanif's mother, Hema Aziz, that's I told you, Hema Aziz was the mother of this Hanif. A vocal artist would often have to leave Hanif and his brothers alone as she traveled with performance wing of the information and broadcasting ministry. She used to travel related to his program because he has already joined. He wanted to travel with the performance wing of information and broadcasting ministry. Information and broadcasting ministry. They performed many things at that time. This Hema Aziz wanted to travel many times. Recalls Hema Aziz, I had a touring job in the south very often, and the kids became very responsible getting up and getting ready for school without my having to tell them. I did not have to tell them in so many words, but my going to work without excuses gave them the message that one's duty is the most important things in life. Mother told it. Many times mother told that I wanted to travel many times related to my job, but my children, they understood their duty themselves because they used everything by themselves. They woke up early, they did their work, everything was done by themselves because they gave importance for the duty. She told that sometimes they might have understood about the importance of duty. While Anis' elder brother Navisuddin went on to become a teacher and was at J.D. Taylor School, New Delhi. Anis' brother was working as a teacher in New Delhi, J.D. School. When Anis died, his brother was working or brother was in Delhi. His younger brother took to composing music on his cashew. It is an instrument, musical instrument. Younger brother was also an artist. Musically, he was also interested in music and he was doing music on his cashew. He was composing. At that time, younger brother was composing music when he died. Hanif would often team up with him. Hanif also liked to play drums, which is also a musical instrument. Hanif also liked to play with the drums. And Robert, Hanif began to make friends only by the time he was 14 years of age. When he was 14, he began to mingle or he began to talk with others. Till that time, Hanif was only acted like or Hanif was only an introvert character. Introvert means opposite extrovert. Introvert means those who are not telling many things or those who are not talking so much to others. Those who are not mingling with others. That type of character is called introvert. But when he became 14 years, and his character was completely changed, he tried or he talked with others also. He would often go out of his way to help people because that gave him a certain kind of joy. In fact, this was the quality the senior recounted when they came to meet me after his death, explains his mother. After that, when he was 14 years old, he began to mingle with others. He always tried to help others. He got some joy. He was very joyful when he gave help or when he helped others. So mother recalled that sometimes after his death, many friends came to his house by thinking about his past service. And he was able to reach out to all. Hema mentions that a 77-year-old gentleman who paid a condolence visit to Hanifuddin's house recalled how Hanif had approached him with some queries related to Sufism. Some queries related to Sufism is a kind of philosophy, religion, a kind of religious philosophy. So one old person, 77 years old person once told about the interest and about the explanation made by Hanif related to Sufism. Hanif was a student of Kerala school in New Delhi and had applied to army when he was graduating from Shivaji College, New Delhi. Hanif applied to get job in army, so it was in Delhi, Shivaji College. He took graduation from Delhi. army when he was graduating from Shivaji College. Hanif did not know much about the army. The only exposure my sons had was through me, and I had often gone to the forward areas on performance for the armed forces entertainment wings. Hanif was quite unaware about the army during his childhood, but he understood about the army because very often he also accompanied with his mother Hemasis related to some performance. Hemasis, she always travelled to many places related to musical performance in the border area or front area, border area. At that time, Hanif also participated. So Hanif could see the duty, or Hanif could see the army, and he got some ideas and he studied some things about the army. Till that period, till that time, he did not know anything, but he got a chance to mingle with the soldiers and he wanted to understand. He got an opportunity to understand the lifestyle of the army people and other things. However, 6 months into the Indian Military Academy training, the gentle Hanif was changed after the training. That is, 6 months was the training. He got 6 months training. After that, his character was completely changed. During those days, he used to write to me about how tough the training was. The training, in military training was very tough. In almost all defense service, that training is very, very important because they should work hard, they should suffer also. Because after that they will change after that training, after getting that training, the behavior of that soldiers will be changed completely. They will become very punctual, very hard working tendency, everything they will get. So training was very hardful. Even now also you can see the training is somewhat difficult, but after that it is very good. I particularly remember him telling me that they had to take Masuri bath at midnight. Sometimes he used to say to his mother, Hemasis, that he explained or he described about the Masuri bath. So Hemasis supposed or guessed that it might be cold water bath at midnight. I suppose it was some kind of cold water bath at midnight. Remember Sema, post training. Hanif joined the 11th Rajputana Rifles and was posted at Jaipur and then at Siachen just prior to Kargil War of 1999. So after that, he was posted at Siachen, that is the border area where the Kargil War happened. Yet life for Hanif was always ekdam bidas. He dabbled in art. Hanif also tried to draw pictures. Dabbled. That means dabbled means tried to draw. Dabbled. Sketched very well. Made beautiful cards out of waste material. He was very interested to make many cards by using waste materials. Moreover, he also liked to sketch. He liked it for drawing also. Rajarals, 11th Rajputana made him get all his instruments for Delhi and formed the music group now called Hanif. So, after his death, that music group was named as Hanif. Previously, his name was other things, but after the death of this Hanif, the name of that musical group was completely changed and it was called as Hanif musical group. Hanif, his name was given. While there was not enough time to rise up the ranks as he had dreamed, another of Hanif's wishes did come true when the sub-sector was named after him. This sub-sector, he did not get an opportunity to hold higher position, to higher rank because he was killed or he died at the age of 25. Otherwise, he would have become in the highest, he would have reached in the highest position. But before that, he was killed. But anyway, after his death, that name of that place was completely changed, renamed sub-sector Hanif. That is a new name, renamed. That Karnataka sector is now named as sub-sector Hanif. As a young officer, Hanif had once told his mother how a post, Nana Singh post, had been named after a brave. Nana Singh was also a great soldier, he was also a martyr. But after his death, the name was given that the place of that old place was already changed and Nana Singh's name was given. In the same way, after the death of the Hanif, the name of that Karnataka was completely changed. That Karnataka sector was now called as sub-sector Hanif. So his bravery does live on in the air of the cold mountains and on the plains. A scholarship now exists in his name, and his family has started a school in Kulu under the Anif's foundation. So, a school was started, and the name of that school is, that means he has started a school in Kulu. In Kulu, there is a school which was started in Anif's foundation. A scholarship now exists. A scholarship was introduced a scholarship was introduced in his name. A scholarship was introduced in the name of Hanif. And his family has started a school. And after that, after the death of this Hanif, his family started a new school also. Despite the pain and loss, Hanif has gained his family a glory that will see them through the years. It is this pride that has made Hema Aziz politely decline the Indian Army's compensation after a petrol pump. There are some families who say sole bread earner is gone. They need it more, says this mother of Martyr. Mother says that many families are there in India who have lost their sole bread earner. Hanif also was their bread earner. After that, government has already given permission to start a petrol pump. The license to start a petrol pump was given to Hanif by the government. That's the end of his life. So, again we can see that the name of that lesson is Great Martyr Ever Cherished. Martyr means the person who is losing his life for country. Person who lost his life for country. It's called martyr, or some other principles you can say. Some good idea or some other things. Person who lost his life for his country is called martyr. Then Hanifuddin's wife's name, Hanifuddin's mother's name was Hema Aziz. Hema Aziz was always on tour. Why she went on tour? Because she traveled. She traveled related to that related to her musical functions. She wanted to go. She has joined in the. She wanted to perform. She joined in the wing of information broadcasting ministry. She has joined the broadcasting ministry. So she wanted to perform many things. So she was on tour many days. So these three brothers were left alone. By Hanif and other brothers were kept alone in his house because Hanif's father died at the age of 6 when Hanif was at the age of 6 when Hanif was 8 years old. When Hanif was 8 years old, his father died. His father died when Hanif was 8 years old. Mother always wanted to tour or wanted to travel to many other places. So these three children were kept alone in their house. But how they changed their character, how even though they were very lonely, they were alone, they did their work punctually. How can I say? Because without any compulsion of their parents, without any advice of their parents, they got up early by themselves and they did their routine work by themselves. That's what. They studied. They got some responsibility by themselves. Moreover, they gave more importance for their duty. That is another thing. Next one is that, what is the new name of that Tartak peak mountain, Tartak sector. Tartak sector. Now, subsector Hanif. The name was already renamed as subsector Hanif. Subsector Hanif. That is it. Then, next one is that, what did Hema Aziz suppose about that Masuri bath? Masuri is the name of a place in North India. He heard that word from Hanif many times. He took Masuri bath. So she guessed it. She thought that it might be the cold water bath at night. Cold water bath at night. From there Hanif took his graduation. That means Delhi. From Delhi. Then what did he do? He applied to get training in army. Then how many months that training was prolonged? 11 months. Then after that, what happened to him? His attitude, his behavior, everything was completely changed. Everything was completely changed. That is another thing. What was the job of this Anis's elder brother? He worked as a teacher in Delhi. Anis's brother worked as a teacher in Delhi. Where was he at the time of the death of this Anis? Brother was working in Delhi at the time of the death of Anis. So this is the important points. Today it is finished. So you should read. This is a supplementary lesson. You can expect some 4 marks question from this. Today I stopped. Thank you very much. You please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.